So good evening, everybody. And it's just kind of like late afternoon where we are. We're in Moab, Utah, and it's glad to see those of you that could make it here with us tonight. We have missed our shows the last couple of weeks, but we are glad to be back. And we're here because we're going to get the Rocky Mountaineer tomorrow, and we're heading from Moab over to Glenwood Springs, and then from Glenwood Springs in to Denver. But we're really looking forward to our trip on the Rocky Mountaineer. But we're not going to talk a lot about that tonight. We are going to talk about some of the interesting things that we've done here. But to start with, let us know where you're watching from. And then also, let's see who we got. So we got some comments here. So we have the Hangman, greetings, and
hello.
Pam, I know where you're watching from. We're going to share some things that will might make you a little queasy, Pam, just to say.
Oh.
But we're going to be talking about our things that we've done here in Moab while we're waiting. We got here on Wednesday, I guess it was. We had a good flight. We got upgraded to first class, which is always nice.
For the first half,
the flight anyway.
Great.
Yeah, we've gotten where we like flying up in front. We've had a couple of upgrades unexpectedly lately, which just like I said, makes the days go by much quicker and much easier.
I have to say on American Airlines, I was amazed the meals that you get in first class are huge. So if you're going to be in first class, don't eat first.
Yeah. First, we didn't realize how much they would feed us the first time when we were going out east. But it's been interesting. We've had I would say a really good time in Moab. What do you think?
Oh, it's been great. Of course, now we lived in El Paso, Texas for 10 years, so we know what to expect from the desert, to be used to the dryness, and the beauty of the desert. But this is really amazing here. It is exquisitely beautiful here.
Yeah, the only downside we have seen to Moab is they have mosquitoes.
And it's this year and last year. Last year they had a flood. Parts of town, they said some things were 2 feet underwater. And so, of course, that got the mosquitoes started. And unfortunately, even here, they can come back in the spring. So I do think they have some treatments planned or something for it. It can be, I think when you're way up on the cliffs, they're probably not up there. But down here where the hotels and things are closer to the water, the river level, then you have more trouble.
Yeah.
And the river moves fast enough. They're not really quite in the river, but it's just
there's a bunch of wetlands
where the streams feed into the river and things, I guess.
Yeah, and there's just a bunch of wetlands, and they've had some really high water, which got all of those soaked. So that'll be our only downside, I would say, that we've had.
Well, I will say this: the repellents do work. DEET's been working. The Avon has been working. The Avon Bug Guard Plus wipes. And so let's give a pitch for Avon. They worked great. And the Avon wipes that you buy in little packages, I've been able to use one for like 3 days because it's so wet. I've been wearing jeans to keep the mosquitoes off me, so I don't have to use it on a lot of me. And that's been great because I am a mosquito magnet, which is why Ken likes to travel with me, because they don't bite him.
Yeah, they bite her, If you're going to be surrounded by mosquitoes, you better have some mosquito bait with you. Maybe I'll change her nickname. Instead of Prop, maybe she's Mosquito Bait now. And if I have 2 black eyes, well, things happen. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll show you some of the things that we've done. We've spent, and I spent more time in Canyonlands and in Arches National Park than Cheryl has, because the roads to get there are a little bit high and a little bit scary. But Cheryl did go out the first day to Canyonlands, and we got to a stretch of road that was pretty scary. And she's like, "Okay, we need to go."
But I did go out over onto a cliff of rock with my Will C2, and I took a picture of Ken out there, and it was beautiful. And I love it. I thought, okay, let's go on a little farther. But then it got to you're just riding along the cliff edge, and that was a little too much for me. Yeah. I can watch the video.
But I did go back. I went to Arches, which has a pretty good road to get up there. A little bit on the scary side. And so I went into Arches. I found, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, Pam, you got it. But I did go back in and found some quite a few accessible things to do in both Arches and in Canyonlands. We'll start with Canyonlands. I'll just go ahead and share some pictures here. So now this is the plumbing in Canyonlands. In this case, in Canyonlands, they don't have any indoor plumbing. It's all outdoor plumbing. These are all wilderness areas. They have accessible outhouses, but they are still outhouses, but they are accessible. You can get a wheelchair in.
Bring your hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Well, then most of them had hand sanitizer on the wall, but she was like, I'll carry my own too. But everywhere we went, every place there was a toilet, there was an accessible toilet, which I thought was really good. And the access to it, like you see here, was paved access from wherever you parked. So that made it really easy for someone that needed an accessible toilet to be able to get to and from the restaurant. Restroom, yeah. I'm sorry, I started reading Pam's email. Where do scary for mall? Okay. Oh, for me. Okay.
Yes,
those are
yes. Way too scary for you. Yes, Pam, you and I will just let them go. We can watch from the bottom of the hill. That's okay.
And I don't have my glasses on, so it looked like L's instead of
And inside Moab, it's beautiful. You can still see the hills. You just can't see the canyons, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the let's see. Find my little arrow. So now that road is actually a dirt road down below where we were. We were standing up above that road looking down on it when we were taking pictures. But you get an idea of the height. You're up a ways. But that's part of what made it really beautiful. Let's see.
Oh, and also being spring, the flowers were really in bloom, and I did not get a picture that first day, and I regret that. There were some beautiful red flowers lighting up the road along into the entrance to Canyonlands for about a mile. It was very, very pretty.
And I'll have a bunch of video coming because both days I was in those two parks, I had the camera sticking out the side window on the passenger side taking video as I was driving. So you'll get a chance to see what the road looked like without having to experience the road.
And these are called the Merrimack and the Monitor, named after big ships, and they do look like big ships.
Well, they have the old ironclads.
Yeah,
from from the Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So those were anyway. The one on the left is the Monitor. The one on the right is the Merrimack. I had hoped to have a little time to fly the drone out there, but I've lost my cursor.
Right. We have to keep looking to the side because we're not at home. We don't have the monitor above us, so it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, my monitor's over here to the right.
But we're thinking about you while we're saying this. Oh, and this is the rock that I climbed down on with the wheel, and I scooted around quite a bit. Ken has a video he'll be putting up of that. It was very interesting. The rock was bumpy, but the wheel operated around it pretty good. I'm probably about 10 feet back from Ken, or maybe 12, taking this photo. It's absolutely stunning. This is why I really wanted to try to go see the rest of it. This is just a preview of the Canyonlands, but that's pretty much as far as I got with my camera. But yeah, it is beautiful there with the snowy mountains in the background. It's just breathtaking in real life.
And there's a visitor center. I just posted. I just finished editing. I'll post it probably tomorrow. I'll have a video of our tour through the center, and so you get a chance to look at that. Canyonlands is a really interesting park because it's in three separate sections. The section that we're in right here is called Islands in the Sky. There's another section that's about 40 miles away that is called the Needles. And then the farthest one away, I think, is the one that's called the Mazes. And it's about 40 miles or 50 miles away from where we are right here. We're about 10 miles north of Moab. And then the farthest parts of the park are probably 40 or 50 miles south of Moab. It's a huge park, lots of canyons. I've got pictures I haven't got cleaned up, and we had not great weather the first couple of days, so they're cloudy.
And regarding this picture, this is just behind that rock that Ken was standing on that we had gotten out on for the photo. So you can see right as you get to the visitor center, there is a spot there that's accessible to look out. And that was really nice. And then to the right of that was the some more of the restrooms, the outhouse restrooms.
Okay, so
I already showed all that.
oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Take it off.
We're both in different spots. So this is a map of the Canyonlands National Park. And this is the Colorado River here. Moab's going to sit somewhere in this area. I think probably like right in here. And then this is the Green River that comes down and they join down here toward the south end of it. But this whole territory is a lot like the Grand Canyon. It's just much more spread out, not as like one deep single channel, but just these mazes of these channels, which really make it interesting.
It's not crowded. I mean, you could have thousands of people here looking at them, and it wouldn't probably be crowded. There'd be a place for you to go. Yeah,
and you can see again, you can start to see this is just a small touch of what there was to see. Now, as I said, in Canyonlands, if you can deal with the heights, there are 3 accessible overlooks where you can get all the way out with a fence to the edge of the canyon. And I'll have some video looking over that edge because I had my 360 camera on about a 6-foot selfie stick, so I stuck it out while I held on to it. I sure didn't stick my head out as far as I stuck the camera out. This was the shuttle in Moab. I'll just let you watch.
Oh yeah, the shuttle in Moab is free. You just there's an app you can ask for when you want it to pick you up and take you about town. I think there's also a scheduled run that it makes through town besides that. And this does have the wheelchair lift. It's brand new. It's beautiful. In fact, you can tell it's a brand new lift, brand new van.
Yeah, and it's free. And we used it quite a bit because we were traveling here. In fact, Cheryl's getting ready to get off. We picked up a rental car for 2 days, but we turned it in yesterday. So we used the lift yesterday afternoon. We used the lift again today, and we'll use the lift again tomorrow to go over to downtown where we're going to check our bags and stuff for the Rocky Mountaineer. But the longest wait we've had was 30 minutes from the time we called for it. Sometimes it's been about 10 minutes. Just depends, they're doing it for other people in town, so it depends on where they are and how busy they are, but worked really well. So we were quite happy with that. If I lost my cursor again.
Well, it'll be nice to end the video. There you go. It was there a second ago, and then it went slower. There it is. Okay.
And this is Delicate Arch. Now, the bottom of the trail to this place is accessible. There's a old farmhouse and some petroglyphs that I wouldn't want to try it with a manual wheelchair like, a lot of people use in the hospital, or, a lot of people have them where you got 2 handles and you push them and skinny tires. I don't know if I'd try it with that, but anything that had a little bit of wide tread, like the wheel would have been fine to go out to. For a 70-year-old man, this was a lot more challenge than I expected, and really a lot more challenge than I wanted. But it was one of those things, once you've climbed for an hour and a half, you just keep going.
And if you'll notice at the very bottom of the picture is a man standing. So that is a really tall arch there.
It is a tall arch.
Very impressive.
Well, let's see. And that's part of the trail. This is for you, Pam, you and Cheryl. That is the part of the trail right at the top that you have to walk along.
That's why I did not go.
And there's a petroglyph you can see. And like I said, the path to this is accessible. It's all really flat. You haven't started any climbing. There's an old farmhouse down there. And to call it a farmhouse is an exaggeration. There's a 1-room cabin down there that with an old root cellar, and that goes back to the 1800s when the people that owned it kind of took care of this part of the canyon. And they were actually once it was made a national monument, they were the ones that took care of it first. This arch is accessible till you get up to about this far. It's packed road now. You got sand to get the rest of the way to that arch. And then I have another one. And there's a different arch that you can see in a little outcropping right behind it there. And that's accessible. The shuttle we took from Salt Lake City down, we didn't get I didn't give enough notice for the accessible one. They do have an accessible one, but I made a mistake. I looked at what's the way the Rocky Mountaineer typically handled people, and they fly them in to Salt Lake City, and then you take the bus down. So I made arrangements to do that, and in reality, we could have flown in on Southwest or Delta. I think it was United. It wasn't American, but yeah. Hey, Pam, I was doing the sidestep, hugging that wall. Me and the wall were good friends. But so if I was going to recommend people to come in, and I would say come in and do this. I think I'm looking forward to the Rocky Mountaineer.
But he was saying that if you didn't take American, you could fly to Moab.
Yeah.
Which would make it much easier to fly in or out of Moab, because this is a long bus ride or van ride, and there's construction. I mean, it's kind of like, I think here it might be kind of like like Wisconsin and Minnesota. There's two seasons. There's, was it summer and no, it's winter and road construction.
Yeah.
And so the road construction can slow you down a half an hour to an hour. Well, I have a sitting limit, and I really pushed my limit that first day getting here with the bus. And so that I think that stress and being so tired and achy, that made the next day harder for me and made me not want to I was not comfortable up there on the mountain. But if you're healthy, that is a way to go. If you have points with American, you want to fly American, you can ride the bus in the evening to get here. That's great. But if you have back problems, I would definitely recommend flying all the way to Moab.
Yeah. And then the other thing is if you need an accessible vehicle, renting an accessible vehicle here in town is not possible. And I didn't have any success finding anybody for a one-way rental in Salt Lake City either. I know there are some rentals available round trip out of Las Vegas up here, and Salt Lake and Las Vegas are not much different in drive time.
But if you're going to do the train, then you're not going to end up in the same town. So unless you go to the train both ways, you can't return the van.
Yeah. So like I said, that is the challenge. Now, if you're staying in town, you're fine. You can also rent Jeeps and a lot of things here. They just won't have a lift or an easy way to get a scooter in. With Cheryl's wheel, we had a van, and I fold the seats down. It was one of those Dodge Caravans type that the seats disappear into the floor. And so I could put her back wheels up and then lift the other end up and just roll it in. And so that worked okay for us and met our need. But if you need an accessible vehicle, that is a challenge here. So yeah, that's one of the things to be aware of when you're thinking about coming. And like I said, we really enjoyed it.
If you have your own vehicle, then you're going to be able to get around too. So if you like to drive across the country and you have a lift and everything you need for yourself, this would be a great place to come and see something amazing.
Yeah, like I said, we thought it was really cool. We've done some things that we probably spent a little more money than we usually do because we travel pretty thrifty a lot of the time.
This place reminds me of Banff, or I told Ken, it's kind of like a desert version of Asheville or like an American version of Banff, because it's a small remote town. And the people are extremely friendly. They want your business. Tourism, the 5-6 months a year, they get the tourists here. They really need them. And they really cater to you, and they're so happy to see you. It's a very welcoming, clean town. I'll say that I felt very comfortable. I felt safe. I really enjoyed it, but it is more expensive because of where it is, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
So.
But we did one thing that was pretty cool, and there'll be a video on it. I didn't have any pictures where I was ready to share them yet, because I always try to make them look a little better than they were when I took them. But we did a river. We rode up the Colorado River. It was a light it was like an after dark cruise with on the river with a light show, and they told the story and with music. And it was really interesting because they went through the history of the Colorado River and Moab and
Utah.
Went from the time that everything was covered with water till the how the different layers formed, and then how the river cut a channel, and the Indians and the early settlers, which were Mormons, and then those kinds of things. So they provided an interesting story about the history.
It started out with dinner. In their building by the water. And it was a nice buffet dinner. And even though there was probably 100 people there getting on the boat, it all went very orderly, clean, easy, great food. We had a good time. And then you get on the boat with no worries, not having to eat or drink anything on the boat. It's a 2-hour ride. So for $3, it was about 90 something a piece. But again, for the town and what you get to see, it was very nice. I really enjoyed it. I really learned a lot about the history. If you're not into religion, that one has a little bit of a religious overtone. It admits the history of the earth and of the people, and with the religious remarks in there. But they do have a non-religious tour you can take if that offends you.
Yeah.
So they cater to everyone here.
Yeah, I was going to say the others don't have the dinner in the nighttime, because this is pretty cool, because they have a truck that drives along the canyon, because the river, and there's a road that runs parallel to the river, and so they have a light truck that's shining lights in different places on the side wall. Now there was I counted 7 steps to get down, then a little flat spot, and then 2 steps to get on the boat. So it was
all railings. There was railings the way until when I got on the boat, they hand walked me over to the other railing. They have a lot of help there, and but it depends on right now the river's extremely high, which is probably also why there's a mosquito problem. But and so the river's really high, so it's like 7 or 8 steps. But if the river's really low, there can be 30 steps down. But it's railing all the way, I believe. So, but
they also have a chair that if you're under 170 pounds, they can put you in a chair and take you down. There wasn't that many steps, and we didn't feel like trying it. So I can't tell you exactly what it would be like. But we had a good time. We enjoyed that. We've eaten at a lot of different kinds of food. We've had Mediterranean food, Thai food, Mexican food, burgers, barbecue.
So been good. We didn't do any pizza here, although it's been recommended. A couple of places were recommended.
Yeah.
But all the restaurants we've been to, we haven't found one that wasn't accessible. The food trucks were interesting. There's quite a few of them in a nice circle. I posted a short video and some photos of it today on my Facebook page. But and they do have like misters there, so it's hot outside. They mist around the tables, which actually cools the whole area out because it's so dry here. And it was accessible with the wheel. It would be really hard because it's gravel and packed dirt mix, so it would be hard with a regular wheelchair to get in there. But there are benches and stuff around town. You could have, if whoever's with you could buy from there, and you could just sit outside probably in a bench.
And one thing that was cool is they have I don't want to call them outhouses, because these were they're like portable toilets, because they had running water and flush toilets, and one was accessible, one wasn't. So
you had a ramp. I did get a picture of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, in general, the town has been super accessible. There has not been much. There was one spell yesterday where we had to move off the main road because they were getting ready to construct a sidewalk and curbs, and it was pretty rough.
So there's one around a block, but there's several like river walk or park walks, like a river walk in town. The sidewalks are probably 8 feet wide, 6 to 8 feet wide, and very smooth, and it's very nice. And occasionally I have run into like a curb corner that needs to be repaired, but for the most part, the town is extremely accessible. We actually walked about 5 miles all the way across town, because if you do Enterprise Rent-A-Car, they're on the far south end of town, and we were staying on the far north end of town, and that is about a 1.5 hour walk. But we did it with the wheel, and we stopped for dinner along the way and rested. Well,
okay.
he walked. I
was going to say, let's clarify this we stuff. Unless you got a mouse in your pocket, or I had a mouse in my pocket, there was no we walk. It was I walked. She rode.
I always offered to hold on to his head and walk beside him and let him ride.
Yeah. I told her I would sit in her lap, and she didn't think that was a good idea. I don't understand.
But so it is an accessible town. I mean, we went all the way across town. Like I said, we had to go around a block here and there for the curbs, but I think they're working really hard on keeping it very accessible here, and that's very nice.
Yeah, in most of the downtown area, pretty much all the stores were accessible. There were a few that I didn't see that had like a step or two in the front. And they might have had another access way, but we didn't hunt them down. There are lots of ways to spend your money here. If you like art, you like Indian artifacts, you like souvenirs, yeah.
Gifts. I'm sure you can buy gifts here. We took some pictures of some of the pretty storefronts here that you'll be seeing posted eventually. And yeah, no, it's really nice. We really enjoyed our stay here. And I'm sure that if you saw something in a window that wasn't accessible, they're here to cater to you. They need your business. I'm sure they will bring it out and show it to you. So yeah. I don't have any worries about that. And there was one thing we missed. Maybe we can find time to do it in the morning before we leave, but there's a visitor center that's free, and they have a 4D video that they advertise that I would have liked to have seen. And that's right in the heart of town. But we were too busy. Ken was too busy walking, getting tired.
Yeah, I was done yesterday. In fact, I was done enough this morning. Yeah, I was.
Our comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pam said, "Hey, we walk, Ken. We get on. We get on. We get off."
Yeah. I understand how you guys walk, but so anyway, it's like I said, we've been real impressed so far. Well, next week we will be in. We'll be back home by a week from today, but all next week we'll be. We'll go to Glenwood Springs tomorrow, then Denver, and we'll be a couple of hotels. We're not going to do much in Denver. I needed some time to catch up on video editing, try to get some more videos out. I shot a lot. I shoot videos a lot faster than I edit. So.
Oh, and there are pretty parks here. There's a park here just like a couple blocks down from where we're staying at the Holiday Inn on the river. There's like a little bridge, like a walkover over the bridge at Lions Park. And that's a pretty little park. It'd be a wonderful place to picnic. You could pick up like some sandwiches and go over there for the afternoon or morning. And it's nice. So that was kind of a fun little excursion we did one day.
Yeah. And I've got some drone footage. We'll see what it looks like. I just got a drone. I'm learning to use it. I had hoped to shoot some this morning, but it just, just didn't have any gas left in the tank. I will say this though, for everybody that's interested, we have some cruises that we're definitely doing. We are doing the cruise in January we're going to Hawaii on the January 30th on Holland America, 18 days. They do still have some accessible cabins, and we will be on that ship. So if anybody's interested, just message me. You can message me on YouTube. You can message me on Facebook. You can email me, Ken at travelingwithachair.com.
And we're going to New England on Canard in the fall, but I'm thinking it might be sold out. It's not listed on their webpage, but you might be able to be waitlisted to join us.
Also, we will be on the second sailing of the Celebrity Ascent. Is that it?
Yeah. So
she's a brand new ship, so we'll be on her second sailing. It's a short cruise. It's not arm and a leg expensive. So if you're interested, we can give you the details on that. And I'll post in the group on YouTube.
And it's five days.
Yeah, Facebook.
It's 5 days, and after that, she goes to more exotic places. It'll be more expensive and longer. Trip.
Yeah, longer.
So it's a great way to get to try Celebrity at a real bargain. See if you like
and see a brand new ship. We're also on the second sailing of the Norwegian Viva the first week of December. So if you're interested in that, and then I'll put the dates in, but early September, we're on the Royal Princess. We have group space booked. we have some accessible cabin space. So if you're interested, and I know Pam is interested, if you're interested in Alaska, I think I'll put the details. But I think we're starting from Vancouver and going north, or did we wind up? I think we're going north to Fairbanks, or we're going south from Fairbanks. I don't remember right off the top of my head. And then we're going to probably do an add-on on the Rocky Mountaineer. So for those that are interested too, yeah, I know Pam, but there's some things that Princess does that are unique.
Well, I think maybe she's talking about in the NCL.
Oh, the Viva, yeah.
The Viva. We'd love to have you join us. NCL is, I would say, it's a more affordable line, but still very comfortable. Still enjoy the food. Still enjoy the shows. It's a great option. We did so many NCLs when we first started cruising.
Well, and I would say this: I think the NCL has some of the best shows. Because which one did we see on when we were on the Prima? Remember the singer?
I don't remember. But no,
I think it was the Whitney Houston story.
Oh, I can't. Oh no, it was not her, the other woman. But anyway, yeah, they did have an excellent
yeah, I mean,
show. I forgot about that. And on the say it was Viva or which were we on?
We're on Prima.
We were on the Prima. Yeah, the Prima also, the rooms were very large. I mean, extremely large. And the handicap room was like 4 regular cabins. I mean, on a normal cruise ship. So it is more of they're trying to give it a luxury spin, because luxury cruises usually have more large, comfortable rooms. And so that's what they've done with that ship.
Yep. And like I said, I'll get all this posted in the Traveling with a Chair Facebook group with all the pricing on it. But so those are the things we've got coming up. We would love to have, some more of our group go with us.
Well, Pam says she's got to run. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks for listening, Pam. Always good to hear your comments and your opinions.
Anyway, anybody, I haven't slowed down much. If you got anybody have any questions or comments, do me a favor again, throw them in the chat. I said next week we will have pictures at least and some comments on the Rocky Mountaineer coming out of here, out of Moab to Denver. We'll talk a little bit about Glenwood Springs because we'll spend the night there. And we should be back on schedule for videos for a while. We are headed to, in fact,
Dominican Republic in the end of June.
Not even we're back home for a little over 10 days. And then we're off to the Dominican Republic. We'll be seeing 4 all-inclusive resorts there. And so we'll have video and we'll talk about those. And then when we get back in from that, we're going to stay home for a while. That's the plan. But we've had those kinds of plans before and didn't. So I wouldn't swear to that.
Well, it's been nice. Thanks for joining us and for watching. Please like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share this with someone you know would be interested.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.